Turkey will soon hold a referendum to change the constitution to give President Erdogan more power. Germany was scheduled as a campaign stop. Well, tonight, a clear message from Germany: no Turkish politics in our backyard. I'm Brent Goff in Berlin. This is The Day. The throngs of pro-Erdogan Turks marching to a political rally in Germany. And today, one German city after another deciding these scenes will not happen again. Democracy under threat? By who? Also on the show.
The revelations that we learned about last night are extremely troubling.
Well, I have not met with any Russians at any time to discuss any political campaign.
Did the president know about the meetings between then Senator Sessions and the Russian ambassador?
And those remarks are unbelievable to me and are false.
For the good of the country, Attorney General Sessions should resign.
Also on the day, scientists say that they've found fossils pointing to life on Earth a staggering 4 billion years ago. We will redefine what old is later on the show. Well, we begin the day with a Turkish political campaign with no more stops in Germany. Now, today, several towns in Germany revoked permits that would have allowed several large political rallies, not for German politicians. Instead, members of the Turkish cabinet were planning to rally Turks living in Germany to vote yes in an upcoming referendum to change Turkey's constitution. Now, the reasons that the permits were revoked, we're told, is that the crowds expected would be too large for the venues. The Turkey's government is not buying that. Today, Turkey's justice minister called the decision undemocratic and canceled a meeting with his German counterpart. Well, since the coup attempt last summer in Turkey, German-Turkish relations have been put to the test. German Chancellor Angela Merkel this week condemned the arrest of Turkish-German journalists in Turkey on terrorism charges. And last month, German police raided the homes of 4 Muslim clerics suspected of spying for the Turkish government. In a moment, we'll go to one of the towns that blocked a Turkish rally, and we'll ask how far can Germany go against a Turkish leader who appears set on moving from a democracy to an autocracy.
It was at this hall in the city of Gaggenau where the Turkish justice minister had planned to give a speech in front of 400 people. But the city canceled the event hours before it was due to start. We anticipated a large number of people, significantly more, many times the number that was registered. Furthermore, we have pretty narrow roads around the hall, so in coordination with the police, we decided not to let the event go ahead. The hall had officially been rented for an association meeting. But given the nature of the event, a large campaign event, the city could not guarantee security. The organizers never mentioned anything about a justice minister, an ambassador, and a consul general. All 3 announced today that they did indeed want to come here. So it seems that the description given of what would actually be happening here had not been honest. The event's organizers have now locked up the hall. It seems they do not want to legally challenge the city's decision.
Well, joining me tonight from the town of Gaggenau is our correspondent Florian Nusch, and here in Berlin is our political correspondent Thomas Sparrow. Gentlemen, to both of you, good evening. Florian, I want to start with you. City officials there in Gaggenau, they've implied that they were misled and that they had no idea that a political rally was being planned. Is that what happened?
I actually think this is what happened, and I just spoke to one of the officials, and I found it to be very credible that the local officials were actually caught completely off guard when they found out only yesterday, they said, that this was not just a gathering of some association, a founding of a lobby group that's actually related to the AK party, but a rally of a Turkish cabinet member. And so I think it was right to assume that that there would have been a lot more crowds than the 400 people that actually fit into this hall right behind me that you can see maybe in the dark. So I think the authorities here, they said this was willful deceit, and this is why they stopped this from happening.
And what have you been hearing from people there? I mean, do they support the decision that was made today?
The people that were here when we arrived about 4 hours ago now, there weren't that many to begin with, but they were all German citizens. They were all citizens here of Gaggenau. No, I didn't see anyone that looked like he was of Turkish descent. But the Germans, they said it was right to cancel this event. They had only learned about what was supposed to happen here in the local newspaper this morning. They said they were completely shocked that they said, why did they come to Gaggenau? This is such a small place. So they were very much in favor of having this whole thing canceled. Afterwards, I found some Turkish or a citizen here with Turkish roots. He actually said this was the wrong thing to do. He would have liked to attend this rally actually, and he just thinks it's a pretext mentioning infrastructural problems.
Well, this is certainly more than a local story, isn't it, Thomas? I mean, it echoes all the way to the German chancellor, doesn't it?
Indeed, Brent. Although local authorities said that that decision was not political, it is clear that the consequences are definitely political, and they have escalated all the way up to the German Chancellery and the German Foreign Ministry. And let's not forget, Brent, this is not an isolated case. We've been talking for months about the differences between Turkey and Germany, and only this week we had another example of those differences with the case of correspondent Dennis Yücel. So this is definitely something that has become a very big problem for German-Turkish relationships, and also a very big challenge for German authorities if they want to mend that relationship.
Yeah, and Thomas, we've heard time and time again that the migrant deal between Turkey and Germany has made Germany almost a geopolitical poodle to Turkey. I mean, can that still be said?
Well, Germany has to be very pragmatic when it comes to Turkey, because Turkey has become a very uncomfortable ally. Uncomfortable, obviously, because Germany and Turkey do not see eye to eye on a series of issues. We've just mentioned some of those, but it is still an ally because on issues, for example, security within NATO or the migration deal between the EU and Turkey, well, both countries have to work together. So that's why Germany is having an approach which I would describe as pragmatic, and in which German officials are trying to keep channels of communication open, because it is clear that they want to talk to Turkish authorities about all these issues, and they want to make sure that they express to those Turkish authorities what situations they do not agree with.
And Florian, you know, let's bring the story back to the local level. What are you hearing there? Do people want Germany to take a tougher stance with Turkey?
Well, the people that I spoke to, there weren't that many, but you could actually see the dilemma here, because on the one hand they said we really have to take a tougher stand. The German government, Angela Merkel herself, she really must voice harsh criticism towards those infringements of civil liberties in Turkey. On the other hand, they say they see the dilemma, and just as Thomas mentioned, it's important to keep the channels open with Turkey. And so I think it will be very interesting to see what will happen when President Erdogan himself, who is apparently thinking about coming to Germany, having a rally here before the referendum in April, when he actually decides to come, what the German government will do. I'm not expecting that they will ban such a thing from happening, and certainly President Erdogan will not end up in a city like Gaggenau, where it's pretty easy to cancel this thing due to safety concerns. But there will definitely be heavy criticism when he arrives, and that might mark even more of an escalation in German-Turkish relations.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens then. All right, Florian Nussforce in the town of Gaggenau tonight, and our correspondent, our political correspondent here in Berlin, Thomas Sparrow, on the story for us tonight. Gentlemen, thank you very much.